You might have heard the expression that there are a number of ways to skin a cat. Well, that old chestnut is very applicable to when we look at how we can practice and develop skills. A teacher or a coach must provide guidance to athletes to ensure that they learn effectively. To do this, the demonstration and the practice of the new skill will be manipulated by the coach to best suit the individual, the skill, and/or the situation. In this video, we'll look at 4 types of practice which can be used in different situations and dependent on the skill being learned. They are fixed practice, mass practice, variable practice, and distributed practice. We'll also look at 3 different methods of practice. Certain skills are best taught in different ways depending on the learner and the skill in question. We'll look at the whole method, the part method, and the whole part whole method. And finally, we'll look at the concept of mental rehearsal. The first type of practice we'll look at is fixed practice. This is a type of practice where a specific movement pattern is repeated in the same environment. These are sometimes also known as drills, and it involves repeatedly practicing the skill in order to strengthen the motor program. This type of practice is best with discrete and closed skills, however can still be applied with open skills as can be seen here in the video. Mass practice is when you practice a skill continuously without any breaks or rest. There are advantages and disadvantages to using the mass method of practice. Some of the advantages are it allows you to pack more into your training session and really develop the motor program. It's good for highly motivated learners with good fitness levels. It's good for simple, discrete skills in short duration. It can save time, obviously, as there are no rests. And it's good for simulating conditions of fatigue, as can be seen here with Ray Allen. This is a mass practice for him doing a 3-point shot in preparation for the NBA All-Star Weekend 3-point competition. He needed to simulate the different points in the court and what it feels like to shoot 5 balls from each point. The disadvantages are mainly for beginners. It can be hard for them to have the concentration or motivation to train in this way. It can also cause fatigue and demotivation, leading to poor performance for some athletes. Some skills are too fatiguing or too complex in nature and don't lend well to mass practice. An alternative form of practice is distributed practice. Distributed practice is when you have a practice session with rest intervals included. Attempts at the skill are divided up with intervals in between to allow for rest and mental rehearsal. This is best used in difficult, dangerous or fatiguing skills and with young or lowly motivated individuals, or those that have fitness issues. How these intervals or rest periods are used are important. They should be used to allow recovery both physically and mentally, allow time for extrinsic feedback and/or mental rehearsal. Varied practice is when a skill is practiced in many different environments. This method of practice will develop an individual schema, which is a store of experience in one's mind. Because the environment is changing, you will develop the store of experience. As can be seen here in this video, the performers have to adapt their skills to the ever-changing environment as their opponents will react differently in different situations. Varied practice can still be used in closed skills situations, and we'll discuss this further in class with the context of golf in mind. Now that we've looked at the ways you can practice a skill, we need to sort of wind back a step and look at the ways skills can be learned or refined. Certain skills are best taught in different ways depending on the learner and the skill in question. Firstly, we'll look at the whole method of learning. The skill is first demonstrated and then practiced as a whole from start to finish. It helps the learner to get a feel for the skill, timings, and end product. It is best used for fast skills which cannot easily be separated into subparts. Using the part method, the parts of the skill are practiced in isolation, which is useful for complicated and serial skills, and is good for maintaining motivation and focusing on specific elements of the skill. As the name suggests, the whole part whole method is when the whole skill is first demonstrated and practiced before being broken down into the constituent parts to practice the individual elements and improve on these before putting the skill back together again. This can be very effective in skills which have easily distinguished parts, where the whole skill together is complex. A good example of this is in swimming.
Stay low and steady in the blocks. Bounce out when the gun goes. High knees and strong arms. Go hard around the bend. Power into the straight. Hit the line hard.
Pictures in our mind do create various physiological and neuromuscular responses in the body. So what we do with imagery is we start to use this ability to create neuromuscular responses in a very purposeful, controlled way.
We know that if you use your senses, it activates the same bits in the brain as it would be if you're actually going to go and do it. So essentially it's kind of priming your head and the connections between your head and the body to be able to do the performance. It reinforces confidence, it reinforces that you're capable and that you've done the skill thousands and thousands of times and you're going to go out and you're going to do it again.